Hello crochet friends, welcome back and welcome to today's tutorial. If these are the tools we'll need: tape measure, scissors, tapestry needle, yarn. I'm using 4-ply yarn, and I'm using a 3.5mm hook. My yarn is 100% acrylic, as you can see. It's a Robin brand, and yeah, feel free to use any yarn. I think this would come out beautiful in a cotton yarn as well. So to create this dress, we are making a front panel and a back panel. So I measured the width, or is it called the circumference, of my hips, and that was 36. Go ahead and measure the widest part of your body. If it's the bust, go ahead and measure that part, because we are not reducing or increasing with this project. So go ahead and measure the widest part of your body, hips or bust, and then divide that by 2. In my case, I get 18 inches. So your chain when it's not stretched should be about 18 inches. I'm going to reduce this a bit, and yeah, that is now 18 inches for my front panel. As you probably have seen in my previous video where I was making a sweater, I said normally when a chain is not straight, when a chain is not stretched like this, it gives you the illusion that it's small. But once you start working, you realize that it's a long chain. So I might reduce about 10 stitches of my chain to get my desired size. But nonetheless, let me start to work with this. Once you have your desired length of chain, chain 3, yarn over, and into the 4th stitch from your hook, make a double crochet. Work double crochet until the end of your chain. I will also write the description into the description box so you know what size I'm making. I think my dress will turn out to be a UK size 8 probably, or 10. I'll give you the measurements in the description box below, and then you can use that to determine how many more stitches you need to add for your own project. So my front chain was 100, and the back chain will also be 100. That is for, I think that's for a size small to medium, because it's supposed to be a free fitting dress, or a loose fitting dress, but not too loose. Okay, so you've finished your double crochet rows. Now chain 1, turn your work and work a single crochet into the next stitch. Work single crochet until the end of that row. So you've come to the end of that row of single crochet. Now chain 2 and turn your work, and into that stitch, the next stitch, work a double crochet, then chain 2, skip 2, 1, 2, and into the third, work a double crochet, chain 2, into the third, 1, 2, into the third, work double crochet, chain 2, into the third, another double crochet. So we are aiming to have 9 boxes. So this is the first box, the second, the third, fourth. So I have 9 boxes now. So make a double crochet into the next, another double crochet into the next. So those are 3 double crochets you've made. Okay, so having done that, we are now going to start working front posts at the bottom. So go down here and count the corresponding stitches. So that's 1, 2, 3. Into the 4th, work a front post. Now, the best way for this first one is for you to skip the next stitch, and below it, below that next stitch, you work a front post twice. This is how you do it. You yarn over, just do it again. Yarn over, take your hook to the back of that stitch and come back from the front. Yarn over and pull through. Yarn over again and come down back to the same stitch. Yarn over. Now you have 5 loops on your hook. Yarn over, pull through 4. Yarn over, pull through 2. Then work double crochet in the next stitch, another double crochet in the next stitch, and a double crochet in the next stitch. Come back to the bottom, count from the next stitch next to that front post. The next stitch is 1, that's 1, 2, 3. Into the 4th, work a front post twice. Then work double crochet into the next stitch, another double crochet into the next, and a 3rd double crochet into the next. Come back to the bottom and count 3 again. 1, 2, 3. And into this one, we will work a front post twice. 1, 2, work 3 double crochet into the next 3 stitches. 2, 3. Find the 4th at the bottom. 1, 2, 3. The 4th, work a front post twice. Then work 3 single crochet into the next 3 stitches. Pattern until you get to the end. Then I'll come back and show you what to do. As you work this stitch, make sure that you're not going back and working into that stitch behind. When you look at it carefully at the back side, there is a stitch there that we are skipping, but this stitch here compensates for it, it covers it. So just work naturally into the next stitch that appears more visible to your eye, because the back stitch will be invisible if the work is facing you. 1, 2, 3. So notice we are working into this, and because of that, this stitch here will be covered at the back. So if that happens, don't fear that you're skipping any stitch. I'm at the end of that row. Don't miss your last stitch. Okay, so if you're there, chain 1, and turn your work single crochet into every stitch up to the end, no, up to where you have your squares. Okay, I'm coming to the end of that row of single crochets. Now onto the top of that double crochet, put a single crochet, and then you have a chain of 2 there. Work a single crochet into each of those stitches in the chain. 1, 2, and then single crochet on top of that one. 1, sorry, I made mine a bit tight. 1, 2, and then single crochet on top of that. Make sure you're working 2 single crochet there because we skipped 2 single crochet there. We just need our project to remain the same size throughout. So 1, 2, and onto the top of that. Keep doing that until you get to the end of the row. Single crochet into it, don't forget it, so you can ensure you have straight edges all the time. So that's what our project looks like at the moment. Now chain 2, okay, then chain 2, 1, 2, and skip 1, 2, and on top of that work a double crochet. 1, 2, skip 1, 2, and work double crochet. So if you notice, the spaces we are creating here are aligned perfectly with the ones below. So that's what you should be aiming at. If you notice that there is a misalignment, just go back and correct your mistake. So I'm at the end of my boxes, and now I need to work a front post into the next stitch. Skip this one and into the next. Work a front post twice. 1, 2, then work double crochet in the next 3 stitches. 1, 2, 3, and then find the middle between this front post and this front post. There are 3 double crochet. We are interested in this middle double crochet, and we are going to work front post into that twice, then work double crochet into the next, and double crochet into the third, then find this middle and work a front post twice. That's how we are going to continue for the rest of this line. And so work that until the end of the row. So that's how my row ends. I've already made 3, but there's no sense in putting a front post there, so I'll just do a regular double crochet. Once you get to the end, chain 1 and turn your work single crochet, single crochet until you get to the boxes At the boxes, we'll basically just repeat the chain. So I'm at the boxes again, and I'll work a single crochet on top of that first stitch, then I'll chain, sorry about that. This is the part where you work single crochet into each of the chains. You work 2 single crochet, 1 into the next chain, another, and on top of that stick you work a single crochet. So 1, I'm at the end of the row. So chain 2, turn your work a double crochet into that 1, and then chain 2, 1, 2, skip 1, 2, and work a double crochet, chain 2, skip 1, 2, and work a double crochet. So that's what your boxes are looking like. No, that's what they should look like. That's what mine are looking like. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 boxes by 1, 2, 3. I'm aiming to have maybe 9. I think I'll have 9 rows, then I'll come back and show you what it looks like. So for now, I recommend you continue to work on your own. I'll also work off camera, then I'll meet you back once we are done with this part where we need boxes. I think you've now got the pattern. So we work double crochet and front posts in one row. On the next row, we work single crochet across, and then we alternate like that. So on the row where we are working double crochet and front posts, we also work our chains, chain 2, skip 2, chain 2, skip 2 once we get to the boxes. On the row where we are working single crochet, we also work single crochet on top of the boxes or on top of the chains. I should probably show you how to transition from the boxes to the front posts. So in this case, I have already done a crochet on top of that double crochet. I will crochet on top of this as well. That is 2 and 3. Then I will work a front post into the middle, the third. So always aim to work into the third post, because to work your front posts into the third, into the middle double crochet, because if you don't do it that way, then your pattern will look something different and it might not look neat. So as you transition from the boxes, just make sure that whatever your decision would be, remember in the earlier instance I worked a front post into that first crochet, into the next crochet after this double crochet. So I worked into that, and then I worked 3, 1, 2, 3, which landed me into this middle post. So again, as you transition up here, make your decisions in such a way that the front post will always land in the middle of these 3 double crochet. I hope I haven't confused you more. Yeah. If you make a mistake, just unravel and make sure that you're landing into the third, into the middle double crochet all the time when you're making your when you're making your front posts. So that is what we are interested in, okay? So carry on, and then I'll come back and show you once I have my desired number of squares. So I'm done with this section of the mesh. I made 9 boxes, so it's a square of sorts. It's 9 boxes down here and 9 boxes up. So I think that will be sufficient for me. Go ahead and make more boxes if you would desire for it to be bigger. This is what my work is looking like, and from down here up to where I am currently is about 5 inches. Again, it might vary if you're using a chunkier yarn or a smaller yarn, but that's what mine is measuring at the moment. So I'm going to work until I get to 24 inches, and then I'll start to reintroduce this mesh. So at the end of that section of the mesh, chain 2, turn your work, and work double crochet in every stitch on top of the mesh. Work a double crochet in every stitch until you get to the point where you are working front posts and back posts. Rather, front posts and double crochet. Just do double crochet over all the mesh until you get to the end of your squares. So at the end of the squares, I'll work into that last double crochet, and then I'll work a front post into the next stitch. And then continue with the pattern for the rest of that part where you're working front posts and double crochet. Continue like that up to the end. At the end of the row, chain 1, turn your work, and work single crochet in every stitch up to the end of the row. Work single crochet even on top of squares. So we are not doing anything unique on this row, we are only working single crochet up to the end. On top of the boxes, just work your single crochet across the row. Okay, so at the end of that row, chain 2, make a double crochet in the next, another double crochet in the next, and then count at the bottom 1, 2, 3 into the 4th, work a front post twice. One double crochet into the next one and into the 3rd one. Then 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3 into the 4th, a front post twice. One, 2, 3, and front post. I'm now approaching my regular front post, so again 1, 2, 3, and this is landing me into my middle double crochet. So make sure you have a seamless transition from this part to your regular front post and back post so that you don't lose the pattern over there. If you realize that you have a mismatch, I would suggest that you unravel and then see whether you can work some 2 double crochets somewhere or reduce or whatever helps you to get back to your regular pattern. Like this, you don't need any more chains until you get to your desired length. I am aiming to have a full length of 34 inches from bottom to top, but I want about 7 inches of mesh at the top, so I'll stop this pattern once I get to 27 inches from bottom to top, and then I'll come back and show you how to reintroduce mesh at the top. So my work is now at about 27 inches, and that's where I want it to be before introducing the mesh. I finished those 27 inches with the row of single crochet. So now to introduce the mesh, chain 2, another 2, 1, 2, yarn over, skip 2, 1, 2, and into the next, make a double crochet. So this first chain, the first 2 chains work as the stem of a double crochet, and then you have the 2 that create the space in between. So make 2 again, skip 2, make a double crochet, 1, 2, skip 2, make a double crochet, 1, 2, skip 2, double crochet, and do that for the rest of that row. I'm left with 4, and instead of making 1 box, I think I'll make 2 boxes here, just to ensure we don't have a very big space at the end. So 1, 2, and chain 1, turn your work, and work a single crochet into that next stitch. Work 2 single crochet in the stitches, that 1, 2, and then on top of that make sure you don't skip any stitch, because if you skip, it will tighten your work and the part of the mesh will look too small compared with the rest of the dress. Single crochet only across this row, ensuring that we work 2 single crochet into the chain and a single crochet on top of the double crochet. Working the top mesh the same way that we did down here. The only difference is that you're working only mesh without this other part, so you do only this and nothing changes. Just continue to do it like that. You do 1 row of double crochet and chain, and then the next row of single crochet, then the next double crochet and chain, until you get to the desired width of your mesh, of your top mesh. So mine will be 7 inches. So carry on like that, then I'll come and show you the neck. The point where I need to start shaping my neckline, I have made 5 boxes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I've made 5 boxes. My intention is to make 9 boxes up here, but part of it will be the upper part of the neckline. So I have marked off where I want my neckline to be, or the width of my neckline, and in between here I have 14 boxes. So I want my neckline to be 14 boxes. On either side I have left 8 boxes. So I have stitch markers. Go ahead and place stitch markers on your work as well, based on the width that you want for your neckline. This turn the work and make a chain of 4. Those are 2, 3, 4. Yarn over, make a double crochet in the next, on top of the next double crochet, make 2 chains on top of the next box, 2 chains on top of the next, until you reach the stitch marker. Remove the stitch marker and make a double crochet in that stitch. Be a row of single crochet. So chain 1 and turn your work, and work single crochets on that row, the same way that you've been making the other boxes. We are at the end of the row, chain 2, chain another 2, that's 4, turn your work and work double crochet, 2, double crochet again on top of the box. Intention is to do that until I have 9 boxes in this corner. So far I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So I'm going to work 2 more, then I'll come back and we work on the other side. So I've attained my desired number of boxes from down here up to the top. For me is 9 boxes, but feel free to adjust according to your desired size. So I'm finishing it off with a row of single crochet. Always make sure you finish up with a row of single crochet. I'm going to do that, then I'll come and show you how to shape the neckline on the other side. When you get to the end, just fasten off and cut the yarn. Side, make a loop on your yarn. Make a loop and then take the other corner of your fabric into that corner, then take the yarn and attach it, and then make a chain of, that's 4, yarn over and work a double crochet at the corner of the square. Carry on and repeat the pattern the same way we did with the other side. Okay, work into that stitch where you have the chain, the stitch marker, and remove the stitch marker. Then chain 1 and turn your work and carry on until you have your desired length. So this is what my 2 sides look like. They are identical to each other. I have equal number of boxes from there, bottom to top, and equal number of boxes. So your 2 sides should be comparable. I finished off with single crochets. So yeah, that's it. That's one of my panels. Front and back panels are the same, no big difference. So go ahead and make your back panel. the same way. You can make adjustments for the back panel. If you don't want to have squares at the bottom or at the top, go ahead and exclude those. But in terms of measurements, we are maintaining the same measurements as we had for this panel. So in the next phase, I'll come and show you how to make the sleeves. So my foundation chain for the sleeve was 55. Go ahead and determine the size that would be appropriate for you. It's going to be a bit of an open, loose fitting sleeve. So for me, 55 was the number that I chose. After making your chain, chain 2, and into the third stitch, work a double crochet and work double crochets until the end of the chain. When you get to the end, chain 1 and turn your work and work single crochet into every stitch until the end of the chain. Once you get to the end of the row, take your stitch markers and decide how much of the regular double crochet and front posts you want on either side, and the middle part will be your mesh. So I have left 17 stitches on either side. So just go ahead then, after you have marked, work until the place where you have your first stitch marker. And I'll come and show you how to transition to the mesh. So what I mean by working the normal way is make a chain of 2, make a double crochet in the next, and another double crochet in the next, then work a front post twice down here. The regular pattern like you did for the front panel and back panel. Sorry, it got too loud. I had to stop filming. But let's assume that this is your second row down here. I think that is where I stopped filming, but we had our stitch marker. So where you have your stitch marker, let's pretend this is your second row. Just make a chain and then work your regular pattern of double crochet and front posts the same way that you did for the front and back panels. Really hearing croaking sounds in my background, but yeah, that's the sound of the tropics by night. It's probably not as bad as the noise of the kids and the dogs during daytime. Okay, so when you arrive at the last bit, I'm assuming you have your stitch marker somewhere around there. When you arrive at the last either double crochet or front post, just chain 2 and skip 2 over there and start making your mesh. Make the mesh according to the number of boxes that you want to create. I created 9 boxes. If you want more, go ahead and create and use more and create more boxes. But if you want to create more boxes, it means you have to reduce this side a little bit. Or if you want your whole sleeve to be like that, you can modify. If you want the whole sleeve to be a mesh, you can still do that. I'm assuming your second stitch marker will be around there. Once you get to the second stitch marker, just work your regular double crochet on it and then continue with your pattern down here. So you've worked that second row. You don't need stitch markers anymore. You just continue working like that until you get to the top of the sleeve. Make whatever modifications you need to make when you get to the top of the sleeve. My sleeve will be 20 inches long. So determine the length that you want. And then I'll meet you back when we are joining the sleeves to the rest of the dress. So now to join the pieces that you've made, front panel, back panel, sleeves, go ahead and turn your work, my piece, the front panel to the back panel. Make sure when you're joining, you're not joining from the outside, you're joining from the inside so that your joints will not be visible and your work will be neat. But I just wanted to show you then how you proceed to attach a sleeve. So this is one side where I have joined the front to the back. And now, if you can see, this part is where the front panel and the back panel are joined together. So that needs to form the middle part of our sleeve. So now take your sleeve. I had some yarn already hanging from it. So take that and fold it in half like that to get the middle part. Okay. Now after you've got the middle part, bring that middle part and align it with the middle part where your front panel and back panel join each other. That should be my middle part. Then stretch, open your sleeve like that, so that half of the sleeve will get attached to one panel and the other half to the other panel. So to join them, make sure you're joining from the wrong side, the inner side, so that you avoid the challenge of having to unravel your work. So this is what my work is looking like on the attached part. And stitch up this part of the sleeve. Make sure you're always working on the wrong side of your work. So go ahead and do that, and then I'll come back when we are joining the rest of it. I'm now attaching back to front panel, this part. I guess you can now do it on your own. There's nothing really unique about joining the parts. So join up your project, and then I'll come and show you how to finish off the hemline at the bottom here, at around the neck and at the sleeves.